Hello friends, welcome back to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to see how to configure Xdebug with XAMPP on your Netbeans IDE. There are different IDEs, so each IDE has a different set of steps to configure your Xdebug into it. Before we move forward, let's recap what we have done till now. So till now what we have done is that we have set up a development environment on our local system, then with XAMPP, and then we have set up a NetBeans IDE. And now we are going to move forward with configuring Xdebug so that when we do the further programming, we can see how to debug our applications. So for that, let's the first step is go to your XAMPP folder. So typically your XAMPP folder is inside of C drive. XAMPP. Go to your PHP folder. Under PHP, check for ext extension folder. And in the extension folder, scroll down to check if you have the Xdebug DL already available. If it is available, then no problem. You just need to copy the path of this. You just need to remember the path to this DLL file, because our next step will involve opening up the PHP ini file and putting up some configuration directives in the PHP ini file. So where will you find your ini file is just go back to PHP, scroll down and look for this ini file. You can open up it in any of your editor. For now, I am opening up in Notepad++. When you open this up, you have to look for Xdebug, Xdebug. Just check if it is there. Check if the directives are there or not. You can select like this. You check all the options, Xdebug. So it's not there in this file. So we'll have to add these directives. Okay, so to find the directives, let's visit this page. This URL will be provided in the description, video description box, and just it also has all these steps how to configure your Xdebug, how to install Xdebug in your environment. So now all that needs to be done is that just need to copy this entire directive from here, go back to your PHP ini file and paste it on the bottom. Remember, since we are following this directives in this tutorial, it mentions that you need to download the DLL file, but we have checked that the DLL is already there for Xdebug, so we need not download it. In case you need to download, so you download, then you can either rename it to PHP Xdebug, or you can put the entire name here when you save an extension and you have to get the path. So in my case, it is already there with this name, so I just need to change it to this name and save. So now if your XAMPP is already running, so you can reach out to your Apache service from here. You can click on stop. Again, check out for XAMPP and you have to start so that this configuration change can come into effect. Now we just need to close this browser, and because we are using Chrome as our default browser along with NetBeans, as we have seen in the last video that we have configured Chrome to be our default browser, we also need to add a Xdebug listener on Chrome. So it's an extension. So all that you need to do is go to extensions and just search out for xdebg. So it's not installed. So we need to search for the extensions. Okay, we just Google xdebg extension for Chrome. So you can see this Xdebug helper. So I'll put this link also in the below the video, so you can directly go to this link and add this to your Chrome browser. So once it is added, you will see this icon, and so your steps with configuring the setup to run Xdebug with NetBeans is complete here. And so we will close this browser, we'll close everything, and we'll go back to our NetBeans environment. And here we can open up our PHP file. I have written a small code. Let's check this first, whether it is running fine or not. I'm not debugging. I'm just running this code. And as soon as I run this code, since I have already configured Chrome to be my default browser for NetBeans to execute my scripts, so this opens up the script and executes it in the browser. So here we can see that it's a very simple program. So what it does is that there is an array where there are different individuals with their age mentioned here. So I'm just checking, I'm looping with the for each, and I'm checking who's for people whose age is greater than 40, and I'm just printing it. Okay, so I can go back and see that Tom and Smith age is being displayed, but I can see that Joey is 49, but his uh, age is not getting displayed. So that is a possible cause of an error. Now how to find out the error, why it is happening, and that is where the concept of debugging comes in. A traditional way of debugging is displaying your variables on the web page by printing them echo using print function or echo, but that's not the right way to debug your applications. So in order to debug your application, you must use a debugger like Xdebug. So now let's see how to debug your application. So I go back and I close this window. I come back and you can see that this is the debug icon. So before you debug, you need to add a breakpoint. So what I do is that I add a breakpoint. So what does a breakpoint mean? That my code execution will stop at this point, and here I can come and inspect my variables and the values for the variables and stuff like that. So let's debug this application to see whether Xdebug setup is working fine or not. So I have debugged this application, and you can see that it is still loading. That is because the code execution has been interrupted by the debugger, by the breakpoint that I have added. So now in order to move through the code, I can use the step over and step in buttons, and uh, here you will be able to see all the variables at the different steps. So let's move in, and once we reach here, and so you can see the code is getting highlighted, and you can see that the key value on the first iteration is being shown up here. And if you keep continuing, you can see that the over each iteration, the values are changing here. See, so we can see that Joey the value was while Joey's age with value 49 didn't get displayed directly. It skipped to Joey with 30, and we can find out that the reason for this being is that there is some fault with the array. So basically, we see that the index value for this array is same. In an array, there cannot be duplicate indexes. So we have to use unique key for the array values, and that's the reason why Joey's age was not getting displayed, because Joey's 30 the value with age 30 was being considered because there was a duplicate value for Joel. So we have changed the name now. So Joel is 39, 30, and Joey is 49. So now let's we so you can see that all variables are available here to be viewed even before executing the page, and this is very helpful in case you want to debug your application and midway you want to check rather than printing out the output on the page. It is very valuable to look for the output and variable values during the execution of the code with this debugging features. So debugging feature is up to you how best you want to use it, but you must use it rather than adding in exit functions and print functions in your code. Let's stop this debugger, and this says that the debugging session has ended, and let's execute the code again and see whether the correction that we have made shows up Joel to be one of the people having age greater than 40. So just run this. Okay, so we can see that Joe's age is 40, and so basically the whole essence of this debugging method is to find out the problem areas due to which a particular bug is happening in the code, or a desired result is not being achieved. So this is a brief, very brief session about how to use debugging with your IDE. Further from here, as we move into more complex application, you will find that the debugging this debugging method is more useful and worth spending time to learn rather than using print and echo functions to output your variables. Thanks for watching, and we will meet up in the next